Hello and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be going through another AS paper and section A. Specifically today we're going to be looking at a macro paper. So we're looking at the 2019, it says the AS Advanced Subsidiary Year 12 Content Economics A and paper 2, the UK Economy, Performance and Policies. So as always, I'm going to go through as quickly as possible, but at the same time I'm going to explain all the reasoning behind answering each question. And I don't think I ever have gone over the amount of time that's given. In this case, for section A, we have 25 minutes. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight in. At the end of the video, if you have any questions, any comments, just pop them down in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so question 1. It is estimated that building a second runway at Gatwick Airport will require an investment of £9.3 billion. The total increase in UK GDP as a result of this injection is expected to be around £44.1 billion. Okay, and A, define the term injection. So injection in this sense is talking about the circular flow of income. There are 3 injections into the circular flow of income, and those are government spending, investment, and exports. So in this case, we have the injection of government spending, but a really simple way just to define injection in this context is government spending / money that is flowing into the circular flow of income. So the government takes out tax, but they also spend, transfer payments, current spending, public capital expenditure. It's just government spending in this case. Or you might say investment, but that's not I wouldn't say that's correct because investment is typically from firms. So calculate the value of the multiplier based on the data given. You're advised to show you're working. So typically, if you're looking at calculating the value of the multiplier, you have 2 things. You have 1 over 1 minus MPC, or you have 1 over MPW, the marginal propensity to withdraw. MPC is the marginal propensity to consume. And the marginal propensity to withdraw is just the sum of the withdrawals from the circular flow of income. So that is imports, savings, and tax. But for this question, we don't need to do that. Instead, what we take is the final impact and we divide it by the initial injection. So in order to calculate the value of the multiplier, we do 44.1 divided by 9.3. You don't need the pound sign. In fact, if you do the maths, it will actually cancel it out anyway. And if you do that, 44.1 divided by 9.3, you would get 4.74 if I'm going to go. It doesn't tell us to do it to any particular value, so there we go. Which one of the following is a likely cause of a decrease in the value of the UK's multiplier? Okay, so we're thinking about anything that's going to decrease the marginal propensity to consume or increase the withdrawals from the circular flow of income. So a decrease in the marginal propensity to tax will increase the multiplier. A decrease in the marginal propensity to tax again will increase the multiplier, making MPW smaller. An increase in the marginal propensity to consume, MPC, an increase in the marginal propensity to consume is again going to increase the size of the multiplier, 1 over 1 minus MPC. So it must be D. I haven't even read it, but I know it must be. An increase in the marginal propensity to import. That is increasing the size of withdrawals. MPW increases. If it's 1 over MPW, it's going to decrease the size of the multiplier. Moving on. Okay, 2A. Illustrate the shape of the Keynesian long-run aggregate supply curve on the diagram below. Okay, that's nice and straightforward. If it's Keynesian, it's just like so. So you can represent the fact that there might be an output gap or spare capacity. That's Keynesian. If you're looking for classical, it's a straight line like so. But you don't need that for this, so we're going to get rid of it, just so you're aware. Okay, so negative output gap or spare capacity is when you're not operating at full employment output. So if I wanted to do it with my diagram, I could. So here's full employment output, and let me show an aggregate demand curve like so. The distance between these two is our spare capacity. So you can manipulate your diagrams in the questions to answer it. Alternatively, you could say that spare capacity is when the level of output in the economy is below the full employment output. There we go. Which one of the following is most likely to cause a movement along the AS curve? Okay. So changes in competition policy is actually likely to cause a shift of it, because that is a supply side policy. Relative productivity, again, is likely to cause a shift in the LRS curve. So it's another supply side policy. The cost of raw materials, again, is going to cause a shift in not the LRS, but the SRS curve. So SRS for this one, because it is changes the cost of production. So I'm just going to change that arrow slightly. Any change in the cost of production will change short run aggregate supply, the level of aggregate demand. Well, actually, we can see that this is true by looking back up at our diagram here. So if here's aggregate demand intersecting at AD1, if we shift it out to AD2, you can see that there is this movement along from this point. Let me change the color. Point A, I'm going to label that as, to point B. So we know that that is correct. Question 3 on UK unemployment. Okay, so the UK unemployment rate is a percentage of all those economically active seasonally adjusted from 2008 to 2018. So you can see the diagram there. With reference to the chart above, explain one likely economic effect of the changes in the UK unemployment rate between 2012 and 2018. Okay, so yeah, start with 2012, go up. That's approximately, let's say, I don't know, 2012. Let's say it's about 8.3% unemployment. And 2018 is here. We could say that that is approximately, I don't know, 4.3%. The reason why I'm doing this is because if you do not make reference to the chart above, you will not get all the marks possible for this question. So as we can see, there's been a decrease in the unemployment rate. So perhaps it could increase consumer confidence and cause an increase in consumption. So yeah, let's do that. So one likely economic effect of the decrease in unemployment rate from, and I'm going to just put in 8.3% in 2012 to 4.3% in 2018 is, I know that's just so I can make sure I get my information in, an increase in disposable income for households who have now got a job. This could increase confidence of households, leading to an increase in consumption and GDP too. There we go. So I've done everything that I would expect myself to do. I've given one reason: increase in disposable income causes increase in spending, causes increase in GDP. Just a normal kind of transmission mechanism to explain my reasoning. And I've included the data there, so I should be on for 3 out of 3. Which one of the following policies is most likely to reduce the unemployment rate in the UK? There are a decrease in direct taxes on company profits. Now, this sounds very plausible because I mean they have more profit that they can use to hire additional workers. Direct taxes are taxes that can't be passed on. An example of that would be corporation tax. A decrease in quantitative easing. No, that's from the Bank of England. It's a contractionary monetary policy. An increase in government payments to unemployed, will that actually encourage you to remain unemployed because perhaps there's no incentive for you to find a job? An increase in the UK-based industry, again, is a contractionary monetary policy. It's likely to decrease expenditure from households, which means that revenue from certain firms is going to go down, and they would most likely actually lay off any workers that were unnecessary. So A, this is the most likely thing that they would do to reduce the unemployment rate. Here we go, a classical LRS curve. So the diagram below shows the aggregate demand and a possible long-run average supply curve for the UK to define the term price level. Okay. So price level on the y-axis is basically about the price of goods and services. So the price level is the average current prices of goods and services in the economy. I take the diagram above to show the likely impact of government policy to promote business competition. Okay, so that's going to be a supply side policy on the equilibrium level of real output price level. Okay, so it's a supply side policy. Depending on how they do it, it could be an interventionist or a free market supply side policy, or market orientated, depending on how you say free market. But in essence, what we need to do is they've got 2 marks. We need to show the change in equilibrium and the change in LRS. So LRS should shift outwards. So here is LRS. Let's call that 2. That's LRS 1. You can annotate their own LRS curves. Don't worry about it. Okay, so here's PL1, here's PL2, here's Y1, here's Y2. Job done. Yeah, you don't need to do anything else other than that. They've already given us the labels for this and government policy to promote business competition. Yeah, sorted. Okay, which one of the following is an interventionist supply side policy? So this is governments intervening in a market to correct a market failure. Governments intervening to correct a market failure. So an improvement in infrastructure is looking pretty likely because that's governments maybe spending on roads, bridges, hospitals, schools, whatever it might be. An increase in indirect taxation is not an interventionist. If you decreased taxation, actually that would not even be an interventionist supply side policy, it'd be a free market, it'd be reducing the level of state intervention. Interest rates are not the government, they're the Bank of England, they're separate institutions. An increase in the regulation of markets would not be a intervention supply side policy. It's actually potentially going to make it more difficult to operate and reduce or cause the LRS curve to shift inwards. So an improvement in infrastructure is correct. Right, question 5, the last question. The table below shows the average UK house price between July 2014 and July 2017. Which one of the following is the most likely impact of an increase in average UK house prices on existing homeowners? Okay, so increasing house prices definitely is going to create greater confidence. High income, no, because houses are assets and not income. If you rent out your house, then maybe you'll get a greater income, but generally no. Lower consumption, no, because it's going to cause a positive wealth effect. If your house becomes more valuable, then your wealth is growing. It's known as the positive wealth effect, and you'd increase your consumption as a result. It's like a psychological impact, and definitely not a negative wealth effect if there's an increase in average UK house prices. So A is the answer. Using 2014 as the base year, calculate the index number for 2015, 2016. Okay, so index numbers, simple things. They are just used in order to display large numbers. So a lot of the time you look at GDP and you would refer to GDP as an index number, and you would compare it to a base year. So what we're saying with this 100 is that if you put this 100 is equal to 189,709. So if I want to calculate 2015's index number, then I take this number, 200,141, and I divide it by 189,709. And what you should see is that because 200,141 is bigger than 189,709, we'd expect the index number for 2015 to be greater than 100. So 200,141 divided by 189,709 is 1.05. If you times that by 100, you would get 105. So you can just put it as, hold on, does it tell us anything? Okay, so let's just go 105.5 because it's 1.054, so 105.49, and then it'd be 105.5. Okay, you can see that this makes sense, right? So 215,127 is bigger than 200,141. So I know that the index number for 2016 is going to be greater than 2015, but we always use the base year to work out the other index number, or the easiest way to do it. You can do it the other way, but I would do it this way. So 215,127 divided by 189,709, and then you times that by 100, and you get 113.4. So we could just put that in here. 105, 2015 is 105.5, and 2016 is 113.4. Okay, and then the last question, define the term index number. So we could say that index number reflects the percentage change in price / quantity / value, maybe, from the base year. You might have a different definition, that's fine. I guess you could also say that it reflects the changes in the price or quantity, or an economic data figure that represents the change in the price or quantity over a given time period. Okay, that is every single question for section A. As you can see here, total for section A is 20 marks. Hopefully that really helps you and can give you an inclination as to what the exam board is looking for if you take Edexcel, or Pearson, if you might refer to it as that, but Pearson Excel. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comment box below. Let me know, and I will keep plugging out some of these videos until we finish all of them. Thank you very much, and best of luck. Bye-bye.